Picture this, it's December 31st, and instead of standing in a massive line at a government building, you're sitting on your couch, sipping coffee, and completely bypassing one of the most frustrating civic duties of the year. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to completely transform a stressful year-end chore into a seamless digital process, showing you exactly how to handle your Ascension Parish property taxes online.
Look, we all know the absolute headache of long lines, confusing bureaucracy, and the pure anxiety of trying to find a parking spot on New Year's Eve, right? And when we're talking about property taxes, the stakes are definitely high. You've got strict deadlines and the looming threat of some pretty severe late penalties. But thankfully, we are living in a digital revolution, and you literally do not have to put yourself through that anymore.
Now let's be totally transparent right out of the gate. There is a 3.45% convenience fee when you use a card to pay online. It's really just a calculation of convenience. You are paying a slight premium to completely skip the line, avoid the holiday traffic, and get that instant, real-time authorization that your bill is officially paid.
So here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. Understanding your property tax. 2. Prerequisites for online payment. 3. The online payment process. 4. Tips for smooth transactions. And 5. Resources and a final disclaimer.
All right, let's jump right into Part 1, Understanding your property tax. To really get a grip on this, you need to understand how the local government divides the work. Think of it like a giant group project where everyone has one specific job. The Ascension Parish Assessor is solely responsible for discovering, listing, and determining the fair market value of your property. That's their entire gig. The Ascension Parish Sheriff, on the other hand, acts as the ex officio tax collector. That means they simply bill and collect the money based on the assessor's certified tax roll. The sheriff has absolutely zero authority to adjust your property's value or change your rates. So if you're upset about your valuation, you need to call the assessor. But if you just have a question about actually paying the bill, that's when you call the sheriff.
And if you look at the numbers over the last 10 years, assessed property values in Ascension Parish have steadily climbed. They've marched all the way from just over $1.1 billion back in 2015 to nearly $2 billion recently. Now, this isn't just arbitrary math. This expanding tax base is absolutely crucial. It's the literal lifeblood that funds our local schools, keeps our essential drainage districts flowing, and ensures our law enforcement and fire protection are properly equipped.
So how do they get to your specific number? Well, it depends on what type of property you own, because baseline assessments are calculated at exact statutory percentages. If you own a home, your land and residential improvements are assessed at 10% of fair market value. For commercial properties, it jumps to 15%, and for public service properties, it's 25%. Once those baselines are set, local taxing authorities apply their voter-approved millage rates, which are basically those tiny fraction of a cent tax rates, to calculate your final actual bill.
Moving right along, let's hit Part 2, Prerequisites for Online Payment.
Okay, listen up, because this is a major warning sign, and it's literally where so many taxpayers accidentally trip up. Do not, I repeat, do not use the state's LOTAP portal for your local property taxes. State-level things like income and severance taxes, yes, those go through LOTAP. But your local parish ad valorem taxes, which is just the fancy legal term for property taxes, are managed completely outside of that state system. You absolutely must use the designated local portal hosted by i3 Verticals, which you can find at snstaxpayments.com/ascension. If you mix these two websites up, you are going to be looking at some very severe payment delays.
On the tech side of things, super simple. Before you jump online, just make sure your web browser has JavaScript enabled so the property database can actually run your query. And per the vendor's terms of use, you have to be the one manually interacting with the site. They strictly forbid automated indexing robots, web scrapers, or spiders. So basically, just keep it simple and human.
All right, let's get into the main event with Part 3, the online payment process.
This step-by-step process is incredibly foolproof. Step 1. Just head directly to that correct local web address, snstaxpayments.com/ascension. Step 2. It's going to prompt you to accept the i3 Verticals Terms of Use Agreement. Step 3. You just use your property ID, your assessment notice, or even just your personal details to search the database and pull up your specific parcel. And Step 4, review your details to make sure everything looks right and securely authorize your payment with a debit or credit card. Honestly, it really is that streamlined.
Let's look at Part 4, Tips for Smooth Transactions.
Knowing your options gives you the power to make the best decision for your own situation.
You can definitely go with the real-time, instant convenience of the online portal, knowing there is that 3.45% transaction fee. Or, if you want to bypass the fee entirely, you can drop a check in the traditional postal mail. Just remember, you're at the mercy of mail delays and manual processing timelines. Your third option is the in-person drop-off, which has zero fees and gives you the peace of mind of an immediate physical receipt. And whatever method you choose, you absolutely cannot delay. December 31st is the hard, non-negotiable deadline. As soon as the clock strikes January 1st, your taxes instantly become delinquent, and a harsh 1% monthly penalty kicks in immediately. If you just ignore it and let it slide, it's going to culminate in mid to late June with the annual tax lien auction. At that point, registered investors will literally bid on the right to hold a tax lien certificate against your home. Yeah, that is an outcome you 100% want to avoid for sure.
Which brings us to our final section, Part 5, Resources and Final Disclaimer. So, what if your internet goes down on New Year's Eve, or you just prefer to skip the online fee? The Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office acts as a fantastic fail-safe, keeping these specific physical locations open so you can drop off cash or a check. Keep in mind that the main Gonzales Business Office, the courthouse, and the Donaldsonville Business Office are open continuously all day, zero lunch closures. If you end up heading to District 2 or District 3 headquarters, just remember they do close their doors briefly between noon and 1 p.m. It's always smart to keep these physical locations in your back pocket as your plan B.
Now, just a quick heads up before we finish up today. Please remember to always double-check the latest details with official government sources. Local regulations, vendor websites, and fee structures can and absolutely do change over time. This explainer is here strictly to empower you and make this civic duty a little less painful, but it definitely shouldn't replace professional, financial, or legal advice.
So, I want to leave you with this final thought to ponder. If we can successfully digitize one of the most stressful, anxiety-inducing parts of local government, transforming a massive, freezing cold line into just a few simple clicks from the couch, what other frustrating civic process are you eager to see completely revolutionized next? Armed with all this knowledge, you are officially ready to tackle those property taxes efficiently and confidently. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and stay curious.